The 3 days before the convention were as follows. Thursday, we had a rehearsal that lasted very late. Friday, we did a show at the Fault Line in San Rafael.
San Rafael, I want to tell you something. I don't know if you know this or not. We're opening up the kids on Sunday, the kids event. But we decided to come down here and hang out and have a few parties beforehand.
Saturday night, we did a show at the Chameleon in San Francisco, which, by the way, was the best show ever with the original lineup.
I think the show before the convention was the best we had ever played as a five-piece.
And that show was packed. The whole place was filled. There was nowhere for anything. Nowhere. You couldn't squeeze another person in with a shoehorn.
After the Chameleon show, there was a little misunderstanding between Jonathan and the rest of the band regarding how much we got paid.
I thought it'd be a great idea not to tell the band and take $40 and say we got paid $160. And
Dennis got really mad, and him and Jonathan were yelling. And
Dennis was livid. He was past angry.
Dennis was looking for a way to leave the band anyway, because I knew he wanted to, and he wouldn't just come out and say it. And this was the perfect catalyst for him to use as an excuse to leave the band. But it was very bad. We all got in like just a gigantic argument after the Chameleon show.
We had one more before the show.
You can't let things like that go unpassed. That's why you don't stop. Keep going. That's why you gotta keep going. Yeah, what's it my fault? It was my fault. It was my fault I started.
The morning of the convention, when I woke up, I was absolutely and completely exhausted. I fell asleep right out of the shower. You know, I fell asleep with wet hair, so I woke up, my hair was pointing all different directions, and I just remember laying there. I passed out on the couch that night. I didn't even make it to bed. I remember just laying there so completely exhausted. You know, the last thing I wanted to do was go do a show, especially in front of the entire world. At the KISS convention, you know, it was the most important show of our career up to that point. And I'm completely wiped out. I couldn't even move. I was so tired.
At the time, the morning of the convention, I thought that I was about to play my last show in Desstroyer.
oh, I remember even before they put the costumes out, I was drooling over Gene's '74 top.
My favorite thing about being at the convention was being able to see them set up everything, see them set up the mannequins, seeing them set up the everything, seeing the costumes up close outside of the cases. I was able to walk up and touch some of the costumes, which was pretty neat.
Walking around that place before we played, it kind of brought me back to life a bit, because I was so tired before that. But seeing all the costumes and seeing all the people outside and seeing the stage and the entire history of the group in front of my eyes, it excited me and woke me up and made me realize that I was going to be part of something very important.
The final set list was All American Man.
This final set list we came up with for the convention was we thought they would love, because my thought was that if these people are paying $100 to get in, they're going to want to hear hardcore stuff. I think we did Strange Ways, Almost Human.
Because I look at the crowd and there's a bunch of people who just have blank looks on their face. And I see them actually turn and look and saying things like, "Is this a Kiss song?"
The 15% of the crowd who knew what we were playing decided it was great, but, you know, then again there was a girl 2 feet in front of me going, "Is this a Kiss song?"
A horrendous version of 100,000 Years.
Our last song was Parasite, which probably got the biggest hoopla, and that was probably because one of the songs that, you know, people knew almost, you know, all the words to. I had to set my smoke bottle off during the guitar solo, and I was laughing, thinking, "Boy, this is cool to do it during Parasite," but the crowd was probably thinking, "What is he doing after that?"
And man, that's like a real killer hardcore set, but a lot of people didn't get it. You know, one, because, I mean, it was our worst performance ever, but two, I don't think they got off on the hardcore tunes like I would. Like, if I would hear Almost Human, I'd be going nuts. But most people wanted to hear Calling Dr. Love or something a little more mundane like that.
But I couldn't believe how many people were there and did not appreciate or even know these songs that we were doing, and they had just paid $100.
After we played Parasite, I was ready to, you know, to go off, and it's like, oh, you know, my balls are cut off because we only get to play 22 minutes.
Right after playing at the convention, I was just absolutely distraught and despondent. I just went backstage, got my makeup off, and put my clothes on, and just found somewhere and just kind of sat.
And we all walked backstage, and nothing was really said between each other because there wasn't like any hugs or anything. Because as soon as it was over, it was over. I mean, the band was over, Dennis and Aaron were leaving.
Everybody else in the band stayed in costume and walked around, but I was really depressed afterwards. You know, all I could keep thinking was that the night before at the Chameleon, we do the best show we've ever done, and then we come play at the Kiss convention in front of the entire world and just blow it. And so it was the most depressing and upsetting time I've ever had in this band, and it really took me a long time to get over it. When Kiss finally took the stage at the convention, it was a huge emotional release for me, because especially after the big fight we had after the Chameleon show, and not being very well received by anybody at the convention, and really basically being treated like shit by everybody that worked at the convention. To finally see Kiss, it was just it was just such an emotional relief.
You know, getting so excited and starting to crawl up closer to the front, you know, people getting mad at me, and John teasing me to sit down, and people saying in German accent, "Could you please move your costume piece because it's hard to see in back of